Why is it said that you can never see the true universe? When I push you into space, you will find that your sense of direction and distance is gone. Do you think you can see massive galaxy clusters and the glowing cosmic web? The answer is cruel. What you see will most likely be only darkness, along with starlight that looks like dust. There are no boundaries or outlines of galaxy clusters, let alone a cosmic web spanning millions of light years. It's not that they don't exist, but rather that your eyes are too primitive. You can only see visible light. Infrared light, ultraviolet light, X-rays, and radio waves are completely invisible to you. Things that are too far, dim, or dark are practically invisible to your naked eye. The images of the universe we usually see are images pieced together by humans using telescope, radio, and gravitational data. But surely you remain unconvinced. You think if you can't see it, then you will just fly out to look. As long as you fly far enough, you'll see the solar system, see the shape of the Milky Way, see the structure of the cosmic web, and even see the cosmic boundaries. So you return to the spaceship and fly straight into space. Seconds pass, you continue to accelerate infinitely. You take one last look at Earth. You can still see its blue oceans and white clouds. When you step on the gas, everything begins to recede. The moon quickly turns into a small, and Earth also begins to shrink. The textbook solar system is missing. In the solar system diagrams, the Sun is in the center, and the 8 major planets are arranged in a grand plane, revolving around the Sun circle after circle. But in real space, there are no lines, nor are there any labels. Only the Sun. The other planets are ridiculously small and ridiculously dim. Take Neptune in diagrams, it is a large blue ball. But from Earth, you can't see it at all. Once you fly far enough, everything disappears. Earth is not a beautiful blue planet. It is just a barely distinguishable speck next to the Sun. At this moment, you realize first, even though you can see the Sun, there is only a vast emptiness in your eyes. You continue to fly out of the planetary orbits, past the Kuiper belt, and toward the even thinner outer edges of the solar system. The Sun gets smaller until finally, when it blends in with the other stars, you can no longer tell which one is the Sun. Your home, from the solid surface of the Earth, has thus turned into a speck of dust in the starry sky. You thought you could see the edge of the solar system, but the solar system does not have a glowing perimeter wall. It is more like a gradually fading sphere of influence. Feeling somewhat disappointed, you continue to fly out, wanting to see what the real Milky Way looks like, and whether it is like the pictures. A massive silver-white vortex, with a bulging center and spiral arms spreading like a pinwheel, where the solar system is just a tiny, on one spiral arm. But the truth is, you cannot see it. Just like when you stand on Earth, you cannot see the complete shape of the Earth. To see the Milky Way clearly, you must fly outside of it. However, the Milky Way is about 100,000 light-years wide. Even though your spaceship now is already infinitely close to the speed of light, flying out of the Milky Way is still an unimaginably long journey. Finally, one day, you fly outside the Milky Way. At this moment, you finally see the Milky Way. But it is not what you imagined. All you see is a massive blur of starlight, and you cannot see the arms clearly. Because the real universe won't boost contrast, does not add color, and does not translate the dust, gas, and dark matter into beautiful outlines for you. What you see is a distant, quiet, massive light. But your naked eye will not see a Milky Way model. And what is even scarier is that when you fly outside the Milky Way, you also lose something. On Earth, you know up, down, left, and right. In the solar system, you can still use the sun as a reference. In the Milky Way, you can still use star distribution as a guide. But once you fly between galaxies, the surroundings become extremely empty. The real distance between galaxies is a darkness across millions of light years. For example, you see the closest Andromeda galaxy to us. In reality, it is about 2.5 million light years away from the Milky Way. In other words, when that beam of light departed from Andromeda, even modern humans had not yet appeared on Earth. This is the second counterintuitive thing about space. You can never see the present universe. The sun you see is the sun from 8 minutes and 20 seconds ago. The starlight you see may be from a galaxy from thousands of years ago, or even hundreds of millions of years ago. Therefore, what the universe gives you is a pile of old photos that arrived late. The farther, the older. And your flight now is no longer traveling in ordinary space. You are walking through a museum made of old light. Every light source you see is no longer in the place where you see it. Because the universe has been expanding, and space itself is pulling apart. But you still do not slow down, continuing to fly in that direction, to search for the very edge of the universe. After a long time, you finally approach an edge relative to the Earth. It is called the boundary of the observable universe, meaning, from the birth of the universe until now, the farthest range that light can reach us. The age of the universe is about 13.8 billion years. But because space has been expanding, the radius of the observable universe is not 13.8 billion light years, but about 46 billion light years. This number sounds like a wall far away, but it is not a wall at all. It is just the limit of the horizon. Exceeding this range doesn't mean nothing is there, it only means that light has not yet had the chance to reach us. Standing on Earth, with Earth as the center, you have an observable universe of your own. If another civilization stands in a galaxy billions of light years away, it will also have an observable universe centered on itself. The sky it sees is not exactly the same as the sky you see. And its cosmic boundary is not your cosmic boundary either. So the edge of the observable universe is not the end of the real universe. But you won't stop. Because we know when a balloon is inflated, it has one. When fireworks explode, there's also an edge. Therefore, since the universe has been expanding after the Big Bang, should there not be a boundary ring outside? So, you still stubbornly continue to fly. The idea is simple: as long as you fly out, won't you see what is outside? But a problem arises. Cosmic space is not a static map waiting for you to advance. It is changing itself. When you fly toward the distance is pulled further away by cosmic expansion. This means that there are some places you can see, but can never reach. For some galaxies, we can still see the light they emitted in the past. But the light they emit today may never reach Earth. It is not that galaxies fly faster than light in space, but rather that the space between them and us is being stretched at a speed that can already exceed light speed. Although that galaxy is still there, purely from a causal relationship, they are moving away from us. At this point, the universe begins to become very cruel. Being visible and being reachable are not the same thing. You can see what a galaxy looked like billions of years ago, but you may never be able to reach its location today. You can see light from the early universe, but that doesn't mean you can fly to it. Instead, the expansion carried it to a distance where contact is impossible. Now, you are still flying forward. You want to find that boundary, but the boundary has never appeared. There is no wall like you imagined, no obvious crack. Nor is there anything telling you, this is the end of the universe. Just as you move ahead at full speed, you have inadvertently crossed a line. This is a place about 8.3 billion light-years away from Earth. After you fly past this line, the most bizarre scene appears. The connection between you and Earth is completely severed. Even if you turn around now, and fly back at nearly the speed of light, you still cannot go back. This invisible boundary now lies between you and Earth. The expansion rate of space between you and Earth makes the act of returning meaningless. Although you are clearly flying back, the distance between you and Earth will grow apart. This is where the true horror of space lies. It does not pull you back to stop you, it's just that space expansion speed makes it impossible to ever return to your origin. You think the cosmic boundary is a wall, but the true boundary is the very moment you can no longer send a message back home. And further along, things will get more and more brutal, as dark energy still drives the universe's expansion. As time passes, more and more galaxies will drop out of our observable range. The night sky will become emptier. The light from distant galaxies will dim bit by bit, redshift, then vanish. If future civilizations are born too late, the universe they see when looking up might be much more barren than ours today. They might only be able to see their own galaxy group. The distant universe has been carried away by expansion. By that time, if they didn't leave ancient records, they might not know that billions of galaxies once existed outside. The universe will slowly hide its own evidence. And you are still moving forward. You did not find the wall of the universe. And you didn't even see the cosmic web. You have simply experienced one thing firsthand. From blind to the structure, to blind to the present. From unable to see the boundary, to never returning. Looking back at this moment, the question from the beginning finally has a true answer. Why can you never see the universe? Because the real universe is too big, too dark, too old, and too scattered. Yet your eyes can only see a small segment of light. Your spaceship can only chase an ever-changing horizon. And your common sense can only understand walls, boundaries, centers, and the outside. But the universe doesn't give you that. What it gives you is expansion, delay, and scale. It severs cause and effect. It means the further you fly, the less you know what you are actually approaching. That is why humans drew diagrams of the solar system, drew top-down views of the Milky Way, and drew the cosmic web. It was not to deceive you, they were meant to help your brain barely grasp a world that is unfit for the naked eye to behold. Because the real universe, once you stand inside, is not grand. It is very dark, very empty, and very quiet. It is so quiet that you begin to doubt whether those grand structures truly exist. But they are right there. We are just too small. So small that we must rely on telescopes, data, and mathematics to understand the universe. Using imagination to grasp that place we can never return to. Perhaps we will never find the true end of the universe. The so-called edge of the universe might not be a wall either, but rather human curiosity and the eternal lighthouse that always asks why. I'm Lama. See you in the next universe.